Hey friend, welcome. I thought I would share my May numbers with you and also some really great items that I sold, as well as a few that were not so great. I had a fantastic May, and while I know it's the middle of June, today's actually the 12th as I'm recording this, I still thought it was important to share as I am kind of new on this reselling journey, and I was really excited. So if you're new, welcome. I'm Jen. I just started reselling in October, so about 8 months. Is that right? 8 months. And like I said, I probably should have recorded this a couple weeks ago, but we had camp and summer, and I'm leaning into summer a little bit. Let me tell you, I do this part-time. I only am trying to get about $1,000 into my personal bank account to help my family's finances for like dance classes and soccer fees and that kind of thing. I have notes. I'm just going to tell you the good stuff right away. My profit in May was $2,425.14. So good. April was kind of not stinky, but not great. I shared those numbers last month, and I'll link that up here if you want to watch that later. The way I do my bookkeeping is I have the item that I am selling, where I got it, how much I paid for it, and then the date it sold, where it sold, which is mostly eBay, and how much it sold for, the fees, what it cost to ship, and then my profit. So if I add up all of my May profit from that my profit was $2,400.25. Okay, so, but what comes into my account is what eBay sends me. What eBay sends me is the money that the buyer paid. So that's the cost of the item plus what they pay for shipping. It does not include taxes. eBay takes care of that. But then I pay the shipping out of that money. And then what's left over, and then eBay also takes their fees. And so then what is left over is what goes into my account. So what went into my account was $2,220.08. So I have cost of goods in there as well. They obviously don't take that out because they don't mess with that. That's on my end. So I was able to, from that $2,000, put $1,000 into my family's account. The other $1,000 I split. So 25% of it goes into a savings account for taxes. I'm not a tax professional. I think that number actually might be a little low. I'm not positive, but I am setting some aside because this is taxable income. The other 25% I put back into my business. So that's where my cost of goods comes out of. I bought a thermal printer. I still haven't hooked it up yet, but I bought one. So any supplies that I need for my business, I bought a pack of Sharpies too. Anyway, shipping supplies, things like that, any bins that I need for storage, the wood that my husband just built me some shelving, and that's a cool video. You can check that out there too. But the wood that we bought for the shelving, all that comes out of my business expenses, which I take 25% of what comes into my account and put it there. And then 50% goes into my family's account which is kind of me paying myself. And that is how I'm paying for dance and soccer and whatever. All the things that come along with having a family of 6. So some fun things for me, I think. I'm not sure I said, but in April, my profit was only $1,337.18. So more than $1,000 more in May than April. In April, I sold 123 items, and in May, I sold 179. That is 56 more items in May than I sold in April. This is what is really good for me. In March, I kind of shared all of my months leading up to March, and I had said that since January, my average sale price had gone down quite significantly. It was at $28, I believe, and it had gone down to $21 by April. And that's significant. I mean, that's almost $7 each item. So if you add that up over however many items, that's significant. In January, when my average sale price was so high, I had quite a few very high dollar items that I kind of randomly found. And so that helped to bump that up. So by April, my average sale price was $21.41, and now in May it is $25.05. So almost $4 increase. So I'm really, really happy about that and wanting it to go up even further. I will tell you that June already is not looking great. 12 days in, I'm not nearly where I was in May, and that's okay. I think that from what I can tell from my own personal experience and from just watching other resellers on YouTube, that it is kind of a roller coaster, that there's some really good months and there's some not so good months. If you can hear my children, it's mom life, I don't know. Sorry about that. Here's the thing. I cannot compare myself to other people. I live in a small town. In the Midwest. I don't have access to really high-end items on a regular basis. Occasionally I will find one thing and that's amazing, but most of the items that I sell between like $10 and $20. Now, one thing I do have going for me is that my average cost of goods, so what I've paid for the item at a thrift store or whatever, is very, very low. And so while I don't find Patagonia on the regular, I also don't pay $8 for every item that comes in my door. My cost of goods is generally below $2. And actually, I meant to find my cost of goods for May and I totally forgot to do that. Maybe I'll do that and put it on the screen. My total gross sales was $4,483.70. That is up 70% from April, which was $2,634.02. So May was fantastic. And I really did have some great sales that helped to contribute from that. But first, I thought maybe we would talk about some of my flops. Some things that did not sell for a great amount of money. So the first are these, I don't know how to say it, sugoi shorts, and they are bike shorts, and you can tell because they have like a padded rear end. I bought these for 85 cents at a local consignment sale. I've had some good luck finding things from there, and I had actually sold a bike suit of the same brand that was like a one-piece thing, and it sold for I think $25. So I bought the shorts thinking maybe $20, right? But they only sold for $5, and my profit was only $3.14. This pink romper I also found at the local consignment sale, and I think I have a haul from there, so you can check that up there later if you are interested. But the buyer only paid $5.98. I paid $1.25 for it. There were some things that I thought, it was pink, which I had just heard that pink was like a trendy number. It was cotton and it was extra large. It had no brand. So it just didn't sell for very much. I made $4.12 on it. When you see the number here, usually when I do a what sold video, I tell you the number, the total that the buyer has paid me, which is the amount that they paid plus the shipping that they pay, because that's what eBay puts into my account and I pay the shipping out of that. Here, it's a little different. I'm just showing you what the buyer paid for the item and the shipping is separate. Just wanted to clarify that and make sure. I really like picking up scrub tops in general, and I thought this Longhorns scrub top was going to be good. It only sold for $5. I paid $1.80 for it at a thrift store. My profit was only $2.87. My flop with this is scrub tops usually don't sell for much, but more than $5. But they usually also kind of flip quickly for me. This one did not. And I think because it was just so very specific with it being the Texas Longhorns, not sure. These Nike shorts sold for $6.98. I paid $1.12 for them at the Goodwill bins, the Goodwill outlet. My profit was $5.35. Okay. I don't always know what I'm doing. I'm learning. I'm new at this. Nike is a good brand, right? So the lesson I'm learning is I don't need to pick up everything of Nike or Levi's. But, okay, anyway. We'll get there another time. These oboes, I think oboes is how you say it. Two things with these. One, there was no size in them, which is not good. Check your shoes for size. That's really important. The other thing is I paid way too much for them. I paid $7 at a local thrift store. They were comping fairly well, but again, I didn't see that there was no size. So I had to measure. I should have just taken them back to see if I could have gotten store credit at that thrift store, but anyway, the buyer only paid $10 and my profit was $1.38. I'm surprised there was even a profit on that. So again, with no size, these Adidas Climalite like compression shorts, there wasn't a size tag. I bought them again at that consignment sale and they have tags and there was a size on that tag, like the price tag. And I think I just didn't think to check to see if there was actually the size tag was in it and it had been cut out. So unfortunately, I only made $4.35 on that. This Carhartt hat actually went really fast, but I paid too much for it. So it sold for $11.67, which is pretty decent if my cost of goods was under $2. That would have been a pretty good sale, especially it sold within, I want to say, less than a week. But I paid $5 for it at a garage sale. So because of that, my profit was only less than $5. Here are two flops. This is a Jurassic World t-shirt. So this I bought when I was very first starting. And again, I've not been doing this very long, but back in the fall, I took a trip thrifting in a larger town. It was a city actually. And I had stopped and I was just frustrated because I was not finding anything. And as I left a Salvation Army, this Jurassic Park shirt was sitting there. And one of the things that I have heard is like, pay attention to what's trending in the world. So, Jurassic Park is just very popular in general. And for kids love dinosaurs and whatever. Anyway, I was like, it was $1. They ended up selling it to me for $1. Here's the problem. Here is the problem. The buyer paid $6. I would have ended up with a profit of about $4, which is fine. That'll buy a coffee for me. I'm happy with that. But I couldn't find it. It was it was labeled in my inventory spreadsheet where it was supposed to be, but it was not there. I went through every single one of my bins and I could not find this anywhere. Thankfully, the buyer was very gracious and kind, but I ended up having to cancel that sale and it was my fault. So then there's a ding on eBay because I can't find the item. It was just, that was my flop with that one. Just very frustrating. And then this one is really bad. So this Levi's shirt, I told you I pick up Levi's way too much. You see, it says returned. Okay, so $13. I only paid $1.04 for the shirt at a local thrift store. And I actually have a really cool haul on that. If you want to check that out later, I'll put it up there. It was returned because I messed up. And for some reason, I labeled it in the title as cotton, and it was actually lyocell. And so the buyer was rather upset with me, and rightly so. I was in the wrong. So I just immediately refunded and with their shipping and everything. So felt really bad, but sometimes I need to slow down and make sure that I'm doing things correctly, labeling things the right way, making sure it's the right size and the right material. So those were my flops for the month of May. And there were certainly more that, had low sale prices or, low profit. But those were kind of the big ones that I wanted to touch on. But I do have a whole list of fantastic flips. Fantastic. I think I'll start with the one sale. I had more than one sale on Poshmark, but the best sale on Poshmark. And I've been using Flip because it is a free cross listing. I don't know much about it. I'm not endorsing Flip by any means at this point, but I'm just kind of playing with it and very casually cross listing things to Poshmark. And one of the things that I happened across on Mother's Day was a lot of Figs scrub tops. And I already told you I like listing scrubs. They're quick flips for me usually. And the Figs were fantastic. There were 5 of them, and there were 3 smalls and 2 mediums, 3 mediums and 2 smalls, something like that. Anyway, they all sold within like 2 weeks for about $20. And while I did pay a little more than I normally would, I still paid less than $4 for each of them. And my profit was like $15 on each one of those, except this one. This one was like a Ejura? I don't know. But it was just a little different. And so when I was looking up comps, I saw that it was a little different. I listed it for $45. It sold for $38. I paid $3.60 for these at a Goodwill on Mother's Day with my mom and my sister, and my profit was $25.08. So I found more Figs at a garage sale this weekend, and I'm so excited. Can't wait to get them listed. The Figs were a good flip for me. Very, very good. So here are some more items. This University of Toronto shirt sold for $35.97. I found it at the bins for $1.58, and my profit is $29.48. This was a vintage Lion King like romper onesie for kids, and it sold for $30. I found that at my favorite thrift store for 77 cents. And so my profit was $23.12. This Emily Knisley dress, it looked handmade and was probably like something from Etsy. And there were only a few listed, and they were listed very high at like $50. And so I do believe I listed mine at $50. I accepted an offer for $30. I bought that at the local kid consignment sale, and I paid $3.25 for it. There was something about it. I did not comp while I was there. I should have, but this one I lucked out, and my profit was $21.55. These I've mentioned in a what sold video. I just didn't do many in May. It was a very, very busy month for me. But these Dr. Scholl's, I didn't notice that they were Dr. Scholl's. They had a Keen brand insert in them, and I thought that they were Keens, and I wasn't paying attention. I only paid $1 for them at a rummage sale. If I had noticed that they were Dr. Scholl's, I probably wouldn't have bought them, and that would have been a really big mistake. And I said that exact same thing in that video a few weeks ago. But they sold for $38.97, so my profit was $34.98. I would have missed, 89 cents. I would have missed out on $35 just by, not thinking Dr. Scholl's was a good enough brand to resell. So I think that comping is good. And if you don't know what I mean by comping, it's I use eBay. You can comp on whatever platform you sell on, really. But I use eBay. I just look at what is listed, how much they're listed for, and what is sold, and how much they have sold for. And so I base my pricing based on that, or if I'm even going to buy it. Because if there's, 87 listed and only 1 sold, I might not want to pick that up at all. Based on, it probably won't sell if that's the case. So here's another pair of compression shorts, but this one are Under Armour, and I know the size. I knew the size on this one, so they sold for $30. I found these at my favorite thrift store for $1, and my profit is $22.74. Oh my goodness, this blazer was so pretty. And a local thrift store that has like a boutique section often prices things up, and they one day were having 50% off of their boutique section. And so I went over and got a fair amount of things. But this brand is Skies Are Blue, and there was something about it that kind of rang a bell for me. from just hearing the brands on other YouTube channels. And so I looked it up. This brand is a Stitch Fix brand, and I believe I listed this at about between $45 and $50, and it sold for $34.98 fairly quickly. I did buy it for $4.14, and my profit is $27.30. These Y2K kind of looking sandals sold for $35.97. I don't even think they were actually from the Y2K era. I think that they were more modern and just had that look. They weren't even real leather. And so my profit on those was $29.56. I found these at a thrift store in another town that was having a half off sale. These Adidas shorts, I was so excited when I found these, also with my mom and my sister. And I think that these were also featured in another What Sold video. So if you've seen that before, sorry. But they were actually a Farm Rio collab with Adidas. And they're just a pair of running shorts. I found the shirt, a crop top, and the shorts together, and I had listed them together, and someone messaged me asking if I would sell just the shorts, so I unlisted them and relisted them separately, and the shorts sold for $30.50. I did buy them both for $8, so I put that as my cost of goods, so my profit is $18.53, and I still have the shirt to sell. I just did a video on denim that has been selling for me, but I did want to mention a few things because they were just really good flips for me in May. And 2 pair of these were these 517s. They were both black. I bought them at the same garage sale for $2 each. And they both sold for $30 each very, very quickly within a day or two. And so my profit on both of those was right around $25, $25.80 and $25.28. I think that was just the difference of the fees being different for some reason. The other ones that I already mentioned in that denim video, and if you haven't seen that, I will link that here because I feel like it was just I shared a lot of information on some denim that had sold and then some other just really good items that had sold. So these Liberty overalls sold for $26.29 and my profit was $21.25. This Lost Petal jean jacket had like an embroidered flower on it. It sold for $25 and my profit was $21.52. These Levi overalls sold for $26.97, and they were the Denizen ones. They weren't even like Levi. I think Denizen is like a lower brand of Levi. So these, my profit was $21. And then these Christopher & Banks, like a moose embroidered overalls, sold also for $25. I got those from my mom, so thanks, Mom. My profit was $21.81. This thing, check her out. She's pretty fantastic, right? So she sold for $32.37. I bought her at my favorite thrift store for $1.82, and my profit was $24.90. If you notice, it says negative feedback received. This sold via global shipping, and the person had gotten a notice that their item had been delivered, but they did not receive the item, and they left me a negative feedback. And then a few hours later, they changed the feedback to say, item received, thanks, but they didn't change it from the negative. And so I went through and like requested that they change it, and I heard nothing. I just actually this morning remembered it and went to eBay for Business on Facebook and asked how I can get that removed, because it was received, obviously, and if that was the only reason they left a negative, that shouldn't be a negative on my account. This quilt top went so fast. I mean, so fast. And it was just the top. It was not a finished quilt. I found it at the bins. I paid $1.80 was my average cost of goods. So when I say average cost of goods, it's the total amount of money that I spent divided by how many sellable items that I bring home. This sold for $68.37. My profit was $56.16, by far the most profit I made on anything easily. The 5 resellers, they're fantastic. I love watching them. They're such a cute couple. And they talk about quilts often. I have had 3 quilts, 2 quilts, and then 1 quilt top. And they all 3, like as soon as I listed them, have sold. The other 2 quilts, one sold for like $100 and one for $50, and to the same buyer. That was kind of fun. And then this one, just super fast. So I'm keeping an eye out for quilts. I still don't want to pay a lot of money for them. I actually just went to a garage sale, and she had like an antique store basically on one side of her garage, and she had a stack of quilt toppers, and I was like, oh. So I asked, and she was like, oh, they're each different. And so I just pulled one out, and she was like, oh, probably $35 for that. It's a little more than I was willing to take the risk for, but I still, if it had sold for $65, $68, I still could have made a pretty decent profit, but just a little more than I wanted to do. This was a vintage cashmere sweater. It came from my dad and my stepmom, so thank you guys. And it sold for $35. My profit was $27.89. Okay, weird stuff sells. Maybe this isn't weird to you, but to me, it's a little, maybe not weird, just different. Not my aesthetic, not something that I would want to wear, but it was really cool. It was like beaded bugs, like ladybugs and dragonflies and I don't know, different bugs. It sold for $68.37. Again, this was something I found at the Goodwill outlet, the bins, for $1.70 was my average cost of goods. And so my profit was $52.91. I had someone buy 3 bags all together, and one was a Coach bag that I had bought at the bins. The other 2 bags I think I just got at yard sales. And so all together my cost of goods was $3.80. They spent $61.11. I did end up refunding some shipping because they overpaid like by a significant amount in shipping. So my profit altogether on that was $39.75. I sold this TiVo. Electronics are not something I'm planning on getting into. I actually was like praying the whole time I was packing this thing up, and thankfully I watched The Hustle Couple, Dan and Amy, and they have some great tips for packaging things like that, and so I feel like I did a good job packing it. But oh my goodness, the TiVo, my dad and my stepmom were moving, and they didn't want the TiVo, and I was like, I'll take the TiVo. And so it sold for $41.37, and so my profit was $37.86. Vintage overalls. Oshkosh vintage overalls. Oh, I love them so much. I found these at the bins for $1.80, and they're so cute, but they had like this fade line, and so I was like, they might sit for a while, because I do have some that haven't sold. So these did sell though almost immediately for $29.97. Like I said, I found them at the bins. My profit was $25.05. And then another vintage item is this Jordache skirt. Oh my goodness, just a little mini skirt. I found it at my favorite thrift store for 40 cents. That's why it's my favorite thrift store. It's so cheap. It's great. The skirt sold for $32.37, and so my profit was $26.07. Okay, sometimes I pick up weird stuff. I don't know. I was at a thrift store and I saw these. They were priced at $1, and it's hair dye. And I decided to look it up, and they were comping at like $25 each with like a pretty decent sell-through rate, and so I picked up 2 of them. There were like 6, and I could have probably picked them all up, and I'm glad that I didn't. But they sold both of them together for $25.14, which is still pretty decent. So together my cost of goods was $2. So my profit was $20.26. Probably not something I would do again. Although, I made $20, so maybe I would do it again. I'm not really sure. I found these Echo Mary Janes at my favorite thrift store for 45 cents. They sold for $26.97 and my profit was $24.33. And then these boots I also found at my favorite thrift store. I did pay a little more for these. I paid $7, but they still sold for $25. I think if I had held on to them longer and sold them more in the fall, I could have gotten more like $45 or even $50 for them. But I don't have a whole lot of space and they were rather large. So I went ahead and sold them for $25 and still made $16.23 from them. I sold this helmet laying jumpsuit for $27.58 and I found this at a great Salvation Army rummage sale, and I'll post the link up here to that haul because it was fantastic. My average cost of goods that day was 41 cents. So the buyer paid $27.58 for this jumpsuit. So I did discover that Helmet Laying is more of an upscale, high-end designer brand. It was not something I had heard of before. I probably maybe underpriced this, I'm not really sure, but regardless, I sold it. So those were my really great flips. I hope you enjoyed hanging out and hearing my numbers for May and some of my flips and some of my flops. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like, a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And subscribe. You can do that right here. Both of those things help as I grow my YouTube channel. I'm just kind of a little YouTube channel right now, so if you would do that, that would help me out a lot and I would appreciate it. You can also check out another video right here. I make videos just about my reselling journey and hauls and what sold videos and kind of randomness along the way. Thanks again so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you soon.